I figured out how the ranked point system operates within the gold tiers, and I'll show you exactly how it does in this video. I will also share tips on how to rank up to platinum with a few strategies to increase your chances of doing so. To ensure the most accurate and consistent data collection method, it's important to note that I did a 3-game cycle. The first game was to drop at one of the 4 new POIs, the second game involved going in the major POIs in the middle, and the third game required landing on the edge, far from the most popular drop spots. The first thing to consider is that, much like Arena in the past, the ranking system still seems to consider 2 factors, your placement and your eliminations. However, this time it also takes into account the rank of the player you eliminated and the final placement of that player. I'll explain this further in the video. Here's the placement points chart I've created for the gold ranks, ranging from gold 1 to gold 3. Keep in mind that these values accumulate every time you reach those tiers in a game. For instance, if I finish outside the top 50 in 79th place, I would only receive plus 1%. If I place within the top 50 between 26th and 50th place at position 39, then I would not only get the plus 1% from the previous tier, also an additional plus 3%. I'm very confident in these values because, as you'll see later, after a win, I received plus 104% and these numbers were accurate. After my first game, I was ranked in gold 2, but since we started unranked, we need to wait for the next game to test my theory. Now, let's add the elimination points to the table, though it's a bit less clear. However, I found some clues to establish a system for this as well. In the past, only the number of kills you achieved in each match was considered. We could see that 7 kills granted us a specific number of arena points. However, the current ranked system seems more dynamic. We'll use the results of my second game to explain. I had 2 eliminations, finished 10th, and gained 36%. We always start with the placement points first. Surviving in the top 50 gives us plus 3%, plus the 1% from the previous tier. Additionally, making it to the top 25 gives us 10%. So with 1 plus 3 plus 10%, we have a total of 14%. Making it to the top 10 adds another 20%. That equals a total of plus 34% at the moment. As the final result was plus 36%, there must be something about the eliminations. We killed a gold player, the same rank as me, who finished 82nd. Early game kills don't get the same points as late game kills, as you'll see in the next few games. We're assigning a plus 2% value to a player of the same rank outside of the top 50, putting us at 36%. But we're not done. We also killed a gold player who finished 38th. It's plus 2% for a gold player outside the top 50, so the second kill would be worth plus 3%. Our current total is now plus 39%, and finally we were eliminated by a gold player, and I think the only thing that matters here is the rank of the player. For this example, a gold player killed by another gold player would be minus 3%, regardless of where they finished. Another example would be a gold player killed by a silver player, in which case the penalty would be bigger since the scenario is less probable. That's because we expect the silver ranked player to not win this fight. In that case, it would be a minus 4%. For our game, it's minus 3% because it's a gold player. So the final total is plus 36%, just like in the game. At this point, it's quite evident that placement points in gold are quite generous. However, this doesn't mean you should adopt a purely passive approach all the way up to platinum, aka camping. In fact, as you climb the ranks, you'll encounter increasingly skilled opponents. This requires getting involved, engaging in fights, and practicing various scenarios. Focusing solely on placement points in gold risks leaving you poorly equipped for the skill level of platinum players. Generally speaking, what I would do if I wanted to rank up the fastest is to follow the same strategy as I did. The first game is to drop at one of the new POIs. Currently, they are pretty crowded and also they give you medallions. This way you will practice hot dropping, fighting opponents very early, and also try to defend yourself against third parties. Then, in the second game, I would land in big POIs around the middle. We're talking about fencing fields, lavish lair, reckless railways, and restored reels. This will practice the same thing as before, except that you will face less people as soon as you land. Also, it will practice your mid-game scenarios because you're more likely to engage in battles while being at the very center of the map. More players converge towards it after the first and second circles. Last but not least, the third game is all about placement points. So you select a drop spot on the edge where you'll most likely be alone. If not, the players landing with you are probably not the most aggressive ones, giving you a fair chance to survive the longest. In game 3, things didn't go well. We got a quick kill off spawn, but a few minutes later, we got ambushed and died in 41st place. The placement points would be 1 plus 3, so 4%. Because the enemy I encountered at the start was ranked silver, it would add fewer points. I assume this kill outside of the top 50 would be 0 or plus 1%. As the gold player eliminated us, we lose 3%. Assuming the silver ranked kill we got is worth 0%, the final result makes sense as it's plus 1% overall. Game 4 is interesting. I died quickly off spawn, resulting in minus 4%. Placing 76th gives me plus 1%. Since I was killed by an unranked player, a minus 5% deduction makes sense. The final result is minus 4%. Game 5 was long. I finished 8th with 1 kill worth plus 34%. I killed a silver player inside the top 25, adding 6%. Finally, a gold player eliminated us, resulting in minus 3%. Doing the math, our final result is plus 37%, just 2% off from the real result. This is why I mentioned earlier that these values might be off by 1 or 2%. Game 6 was unfortunate. Trying to escape, I killed myself with a clinger grenade. A gold player eliminated us, resulting in minus 3%. But the final result is actually minus 5%. My theory is that maybe finishing outside the top 75 punishes you a bit more. But I'll need more data to confirm this in the upcoming videos. Let's talk strategy once again. We just saw that you're not penalized too severely for being eliminated off spawn in gold. The worst I got was minus 5%, which is not too drastic. So if you're looking to get out of gold as quickly as possible, then I truly believe that only hot dropping to the new POIs and going for medallions every single game might be the play. Don't forget that this will push you in a lot more fights, meaning it's better practice compared to someone who camped all the way up to platinum. This way you'll be more than ready for the next rank. With this strategy, expect to die off spawn a few times, but keep in mind that you'll definitely get a pop-off game with lots of kills and hopefully a win. Talking about a pop-off game, this is exactly what happened to me in game 7. It started with a quick kill off spawn in Grand Glacier. Honestly, I almost died right here. Then I got a second elimination, but it wasn't that great, just like this standard auto frenzy kill for my third. The top 10 was definitely more interesting. First, I got rushed by an alien skin, but I used the vehicles as cover very well here. After this, you'll see the replay footage, because for some reason I lost the actual gameplay footage. We were in the final 3 and everyone had to rotate on a small island. Since I was the first there, I could eliminate this opponent who just had no cover at all. Then I saw the head of the last player inside the vehicle, so I took a quick snipe and that's a victory royale. What's very interesting here is to analyze the scoring, as we got a whooping plus 104% with this win. First of all, by looking at the placement points table again, a win would give a total of 69% in total. Now, with a total of 6 eliminations, we can expect to get roughly 6 points per elimination on average. But because we said earlier that all eliminations are not equal in ranked, then here's the breakdown for all of my 6 eliminations. The first elimination was a gold player, so plus 2% because it was outside the top 50. The next player was outside the top 25, and because it was also gold, then this would be plus 3%. The last 4 eliminations were all inside the top 10, which will give a lot of points. My guess is that both gold players eliminated are giving plus 7% twice. We got an unranked player too, but that would give less, so plus 6%. And we also eliminated a platinum player, which is ranked higher than us, giving a plus 10%. The total result would be plus 104%. I'll admit, I wouldn't be surprised if the victory royale was actually giving plus 30% instead, but that would still be correct if we had 1% on each elimination, except the one on the unranked player. As you can see, the numbers worked every single time, and I'm sure if you apply these as well for your own games, I'm guessing that you'll get similar or very close results. Let me know in the comments if the method worked out for you in the gold tiers. I'm planning to do similar videos for each rank up, so make sure to check out the next one by clicking on the playlist link on screen. See you in the next one!